What if the world as you know it is teetering on the edge of a truth so profound, so unsettling, that it could unravel everything you thought was certain? What if the man who stands at the helm of the oldest institution in history, Pope Francis, is not just a leader, but the final note in a symphony that has played for centuries, a note that heralds the end? The prophecies of Nostradamus, those cryptic whispers from the shadows of time, speak of a moment when the heavens tremble and the earth holds its breath. They speak of a last pope, a shepherd who walks through a storm no one else can see. Are you ready to peer into the abyss of what might be? Or will you turn away, clinging to the comfort of what you've always known? The air is thick with questions that refuse to be ignored, questions that claw at the edges of your soul. We've been taught to trust in the permanence of things, to believe that the church, with its ancient walls and timeless rituals, will stand forever. But what if forever is a lie we've told ourselves to sleep at night? Nostradamus saw a world where the pillars of faith would shake, where a leader would rise and fall under the weight of a destiny written in the stars. São Malaquias, centuries ago, called him Peter the Roman, the one who would guide his flock through the final tempest. Is Pope Francis that man? Is his every step a fulfillment of words etched in the annals of time? Or are we merely chasing shadows cast by our own fears? There's a pulse beneath the surface of this world, a rhythm that beats louder with every passing day. You feel it, don't you? That restless stirring, that sense that something is coming, something you can't name but can't escape. The church, once a beacon of unshakable truth, now sways in a wind of scandal, doubt and division. And at its heart stands a man whose humility masks a burden too heavy for any mortal to bear. What does he know that we don't? What secrets does he carry in the quiet moments when the world isn't watching? The prophecies don't just predict, they provoke. They demand that we look beyond the veil, that we question the stories we've been fed, and that we face the possibility that the end is not a distant myth, but a reality unfolding before our eyes. This is not about fear, though fear is a natural companion on this journey. This is about awakening, about seeing the threads of a tapestry woven long before you were born, a tapestry that now frays at the edges. Every word Nostradamus penned, every vision São Malaquias glimpsed, was a warning, a plea, a mirror held up to humanity's soul. They saw a time when the last pope would stand not as a ruler but as a symbol of a world on the brink, a world forced to choose between clinging to the past or embracing a future it cannot yet comprehend. You're not here by accident. You're here because something inside you knows that the truth is never given, it's uncovered. And the deeper you go, the more you'll realize that this isn't just about a pope or a prophecy. It's about you, about what you'll do when the final curtain begins to fall. So, take a breath and let the weight of this moment settle into your bones. You're standing at a crossroads where every choice matters, where every second could be the key to understanding what's been hidden for centuries. Will you keep watching, letting these ancient words pull you into a truth that might change everything? Or will you walk away, hoping the questions will fade like a dream? The choice is yours, but know this: the prophecies are not silent, they are screaming. And they're screaming for you to listen, because the story of the last pope is not just the end of an era. It's the beginning of something you never imagined possible. Stay with me, and let's uncover what lies beyond the shadows. Imagine the weight of a truth so ancient it hums in the bones of the earth, a truth that has waited centuries to be heard. The prophecies of Nostradamus are not mere words. They are echoes of a world unseen, a world where time bends and the future whispers to those brave enough to listen. Picture Pope Francis, his weathered hands clasped in prayer, standing at the heart of a church that has shaped empires and souls. But what if he is more than a man? What if he is the fulcrum upon which history turns, the last shepherd foretold by São Malaquias, destined to lead through a twilight no one else can fathom? You've walked through life believing the world is solid, predictable, but now the ground beneath you shifts, and a question lingers. What if everything you've known is but a prelude to an ending already written? The church, that towering edifice of faith, is not what it seems. Its walls, once unyielding, now bear cracks that no one dares to name, scandals that stain its sanctity, divisions that tear at its heart, a slow bleeding of devotion as the faithful drift away. Nostradamus saw this, his quill trembling as he wrote of a time when the sacred would falter, when a leader would rise amid chaos, his every choice a thread in a tapestry of fate. Do you feel it too, that quiet ache in your chest, the sense that something sacred is slipping through our fingers? Pope Francis walks a path lined with thorns, his calls for renewal both a beacon and a warning. Is he fighting to save a dying institution, or is he guiding it toward a destiny we cannot yet see, a destiny that might ask us to let go of everything we hold dear? There's a shadow that moves with every step we take, a shadow cast by the weight of our own questions. Why does the world feel so heavy now, so fraught with unrest? Why do the prophecies, those cryptic verses from centuries past, seem to pulse with a life of their own? São Malaquias spoke of Peter the Roman, the final pope who would shepherd his flock through the end of days. But what is an end, really? Is it the collapse of stone and scripture, or is it the breaking open of something within us, a reckoning that forces us to face the truths we've buried? Pope Francis, with his gentle smile and burdened eyes, seems to carry this reckoning in his silence. What does he see when he gazes into the horizon? What does he know that we are too afraid to ask? This is not a story of doom, though the heart might quiver at the thought. This is a story of awakening, of standing at the edge of a chasm and choosing to leap. The prophecies are not chains. They are keys, unlocking doors we've long ignored. They ask us to look at the world not as it is, but as it could be. They ask us to look at ourselves, not as we are, but as we might become. Every crisis in the church, every whispered doubt, every moment of despair is a call to something greater, a call to shed the skin of the past and step into a future that burns with possibility. But the question remains, heavy as stone. Are you ready to answer that call, or will you let it fade into the noise of a world too distracted to listen? The air grows thicker now, charged with the weight of what's unspoken. Nostradamus did not write to comfort, he wrote to disturb, to stir the soul from its slumber. His visions of tribulation, of a pope who stands alone against a tide of chaos, are not predictions, but mirrors, reflecting the battles we fight within. The church is not just an institution, it is a symbol of our longing for meaning, our struggle to hold on to something eternal in a world that crumbles. Pope Francis, whether he knows it or not, is the embodiment of that struggle. A man caught between the human and the divine, between the now and the forever. Have you ever felt that pull, that tension between who you are and who you're meant to be? That's the pulse of this moment, the heartbeat of a prophecy that is not about the end of the world, but about the end of the world as we know it. And yet, the deeper we go, the more the lines blur. What if the last pope is not a person, but a metaphor, a symbol of the moment when we must all become shepherds of our own souls? So Malachias's words, etched in the shadow of a distant century, speak of a finality that feels both terrifying and strangely liberating. The crises that shake the church are not punishments. They are invitations, urging us to question, to seek, to rebuild. Pope Francis, with his radical humility, seems to understand this in a way that cuts through dogma and doctrine. He's not here to preserve the past, but to point toward a horizon we cannot yet see. Can you feel the pull of that horizon? The way it beckons even as it frightens? It's a call to courage, to face the unknown with eyes wide open, knowing that every step brings us closer to a truth that might shatter us or set us free. There's a fire in these ancient words, a fire that burns through the illusions we've built to shield ourselves. Nostradamus saw a world where the sacred and the profane would collide, where the last pope would stand as both a bridge and a breaking point. This is not about the fall of a man or an institution. It's about the fall of the stories we've told ourselves to avoid the truth. The truth that we are fragile, that we are flawed, that we are capable of both destruction and creation. Pope Francis carries this truth in every gesture, every word, every moment of quiet defiance against a world that demands certainty. Do you see it in his eyes, that flicker of knowing, that silent acknowledgement of a burden too vast for one soul to bear? That's the spark that lights this journey, the spark that could ignite something within you, if you let it. We are not spectators in this story. We are participants, woven into the same tapestry of fate. The prophecies are not distant relics. They are alive, breathing, demanding that we confront the chaos within and without. The church may falter, the Pope may be the last, but what matters is what we do with this moment. Will you cling to the safety of the known, or will you dare to walk through the fire of what's possible? The world is shifting, and with it, the boundaries of what we believe, what we fear, what we hope for. Pope Francis stands at the edge of this shift, a solitary figure against a storm that grows louder by the day. But he is not alone, because you are here, listening, feeling, questioning, and that, more than any prophecy, is what will shape what comes next. And so, we stand at the edge of a great silence, where the echoes of ancient prophecies mingle with the pulse of our own hearts. The story of the last pope, of Pope Francis, of Nostradamus and São Malaquias, is not a tale carved in stone, but a mirror held up to our own becoming. It asks us to see the cracks in the world, not as ruin, but as openings through which a new light might pour. What is an end, if not the moment when we choose to release what no longer serves and embrace what waits beyond? The church, with its trembling foundations, and the man who leads it with his quiet courage, are but reflections of a deeper truth, that we, too, are called to be shepherds, not of flocks, but of our own souls, guiding them through the storms we cannot yet name. Can you hear it? That soft hum beneath the noise of the world, urging you to step forward, to become more than you were? This is not the closing of a door, but the opening of a horizon, one that stretches far beyond the prophecies, beyond the figure of a pope, beyond the walls we've built to keep the unknown at bay. Every question we've asked, every shadow we've faced, has been a thread in a tapestry that is still being woven. The weight of this moment, the one that lingers in your chest, is not a burden but a gift, a reminder that you are alive in a time when the world is asking you to see it anew. What will you carry from this? A spark of doubt that grows into courage, a whisper of truth that demands to be spoken. The last pope is not a man alone. He is a symbol of the choice we all face, to cling to the fading echoes of yesterday or to walk boldly into the mystery of tomorrow. And in that choice lies a power so vast it could reshape everything, if you dare to claim it. So, let this moment be your own prophecy, your own awakening. Let it be the instant when you decide to join the countless souls who feel the same stirring, who hear the same call. If this has moved you, if it has stirred something deep within, let your voice be heard. Press that like button to mark this moment. Comment with the questions that burn in your heart. Share this with those who need to feel its fire. Subscribe not just to a channel, but to a journey that seeks the truths hidden in plain sight. Because the story doesn't end here. It lives in you, in the choices you make, in the courage you summon. The world is waiting, and so are you. Take that step, and let the echo of this truth guide you to what comes next. For you are not just a witness, you are the flame that will light the way.